Thank you for joining me. This is The Point, and I am Miriam Ogutu. My guest today is the youngest senatorial aspirant in the Nairobi race. She's an independent candidate, and she says she got tired of watching from the sidelines and being passive. So now she decided she wants to be part of the solutions of the problems that plagues Nairobi County. Miss Suzanne Lengewa Silantoi. Karibu.
Hi. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You were so lovely and so powerful and so, I don't know how to put it together. You're like the whole package.
Thank you.
So you sat one day and you thought, you know what? I think I want to join the politics of this country. Tell us that moment.
Well, it wasn't a moment of aha. I think it just grew over time. When I finished campus, I started working for an organization as a communications officer. And a lot of our work involved working with communities, right, at the hospital level in public health systems mostly. And so just being exposed to the public health system really made me mad. Every time I went to a public hospital, I got upset about the lack of equipment, the few personnel, people are crowded. I mean, it just didn't look like...
The lack of medicine.
There was no medicine at all. And so that kept making me mad all the time because I would see that people are actually putting in money into this, but we can't see results from it. And a lot of that money is actually donor money. And so I wonder, where is my money going to as a taxpayer? And so I think it just kept on making me angry, looking at young people who are jobless, who are almost hopeless and desperate. It just made me mad. And I thought, you know what? This is not a problem that can be fixed with just community work. We have to change the policies, we have to change the laws. The leaders have to be of goodwill for us to be able to move on. And so when it came to this year and Sonko said he was going for governor, and I thought, you know what? I think I can actually do this. Let me put my foot in there and try and make a difference.
And replace him.
Yeah.
And so you decide that, and then you go to your family, and their response was what?
So they thought I was joking. And they ignored me for the longest time until the day I actually went and took my papers. And then they were like, oh my God, you're serious? Then after that, they were in denial for a bit.
They're in denial.
But then they've been really supportive, actually.
So far, so good.
They've been my rock, I can tell you that. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. So do you think your age has played a part in you receiving the recognition?
I think so. I don't think this is normal.
Like,
but
I mean,
also,
at 23,
yeah.
How, I mean...
Yeah, it's
who even
unheard of.
thinks to become a senator?
Yeah.
Not many.
But, you know, I'm actually surprised. Like, I've come to see that a lot of our leaders were actually really young when they got into this.
When they started, yeah, that is
and
true.
So it's no surprise. Even people who did not have any political experience just jumped right into it and became ministers. Even our own president was never a politician, but he came in and he was a minister
they say he
of
was
local
dragged
government.
into politics.
I mean, but see where he is now.
Yeah, I know.
See where he is now. So
I think you grow into it. Like,
yeah,
you grew into it.
Yeah, you learn on the job. I keep giving this example of a mother. Someone will get pregnant and get a baby. Someone has never had the experience of being a mother. But here we are now, all of us, and we've been raised by mothers, most likely who weren't mothers before. But we've turned out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. So what's your mission?
My mission is, I'm seeing my country going in a direction that I don't like. I'm seeing my country losing taxpayers' money and no one is being held accountable for it. I'm seeing us being so divided on tribal lines, and that is not going to take us anywhere. And my mission is this: if I'm not going to do anything else in this country, I want Kenya to be a country where it has leaders who are actually accountable. That's all I want. If I don't do anything else, at least we as a leadership will be accountable to the people. Yeah.
And sometimes when we elect a lot of these people into these leadership positions, they think these are their personal positions. They don't know we elect them there to go there and to work.
For us.
We
to
employ
work for
you.
Us. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And a lot of them don't really get that.
Yeah.
So what's your campaign strategy? I hear you don't give out handouts.
No. I go and meet the people.
How has that been received by the people? Because they're used to being something being dished at them every now and then, by the politicians.
This is where my age plays a bit of a factor. because, you know, they'd look at me. First of all, I look too young. And so they'd be like, oh, okay, fine. We can just give her for... You know, they wouldn't treat me too harshly just because of my age. Of course, there are people who would just walk away and be like, yeah, if you're not giving me anything, I'm not giving you the time of day. But there are people who would just listen. More people would be surprised. Yeah, but they've been really, really nice to me. Honestly, I have nothing but gratitude for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been received well.
Very well,
So
yes.
it's very encouraging.
Yeah.
So how do you go door to door? Do you hold campaigns? How do you campaign?
Uh,
Do you hold rallies? Sorry.
No, I don't hold rallies. I came to realize that a lot of people are paid to go for rallies. So people don't just show up.
You're just learning this now.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. I thought I'd hold a rally and everybody would come. But also, I don't have that kind of financial muscle. So I do what I can. I do the door-to-door. So far, I've done 11 constituencies out of 17.
Okay.
So not door-to-door to every person's door, but at least I've visited 2 wards in each of those constituencies, and they're about an average of 5. Yeah, so hopefully if I finish the 17, I can do some more. Yeah, but mainly it's just meeting the people, and people really appreciate it. They're like, you know, we never see these people, we just see them on TV or whatever. But if you actually come, those people really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you refuse to give the handouts, because sometimes they normally feel like, okay, fine, you're going to give you a job, so somehow you should give us something. Do you ever get that kind of attitude?
Yes, a lot of times. But I usually just tell them, you know, even that handout you're being given, it is your money. It is most likely, you're the one who paid taxes and someone stole it and they're coming back to give you. Instead of getting that 200, they could have had a better hospital for you or a better school for you. So people here, and I think where we are as a country, people are actually tired. And
the status quo,
yeah,
and the way things have been
people
happening.
are not happy. You know, when it gets to a point where even unga is expensive.
Expensive, or you can't even find it. But now it's back, so thank God.
Yeah, you can't even find it. Yes.
Now it's back.
Yeah, but you see, when it gets to that point, you actually start questioning yourself. You start wondering, what did we do? What did we go? Where did we go
Who
wrong?
is this I elected?
Yeah, yeah. So I think people are now starting to reason. Yeah.
So before Suzanne decided to venture into the muddy waters of politics, what was occupying her time?
So I graduated in the year 2015. I did a bachelor's degree in music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you understand classical music, I assume?
Oh, yes, I do. I did all that for 4 years.
Mozart and Beethoven, all
Yes,
those people. I hosted a
yes.
show on classical music.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know it's weird.
My favorite...
It's my favorite music, actually.
Is it? Oh, okay. My favorite song of all time is by Gustav Holst, Jupiter.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. Yeah, so I did music in campus. And during campus, I actually started a business of trying to connect musicians to their potential employers or customers, because I realized that a lot of talented musicians who are not able to make ends meet, and it's just because they don't have the extra skill of doing business, or nobody has ever taught them how to do it. So I helped them get them up front so that now they can deal with the customers more professionally, and even on the part of the musicians, they can learn some little bit of professionalism, because that's a challenge for us as artists. Yeah, so I did that for a while, and now I'm trying to scale it up so that we can have it at an online platform, so that more people can be able to get employment through that.
That sounds like a company you're running, is it? Are you doing that that's what you're doing for work?
I do that as a part-time thing. I actually have a full-time job.
Okay.
So I work as a communications officer.
Ah,
yes, and I've been doing that for 2 years now.
okay.
Yeah.
That's really nice. So take us back to about 13 years ago. I believe you were 10. And I just want to understand this 10-year-old Suzanne's mind. Can you describe that girl for us and the dreams she had then?
Where was I? I think I was in class 5. At that time, I'm very sporty, I'm very athletic.
Oh, okay.
I played sports throughout. I was in the hockey team, I was in the football team, I was in the athletics team. So at that time, I think I just discovered that I could run. So my dream was like one day I'd run in the Olympics.
Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, but I was always involved in, I mean, I'd always watch the news. Like if there's something we did at home, we would always watch the news.
Okay.
So that is something else. I think I was very happy when Kibaki came into power. I was in class 2 or something.
Okay.
So it was still a hopeful
Kibaki
time
came
for
to
us.
power when you were in class 2.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
wow.
so.
So how has that girl transformed, and what lessons can you learn from that you think has made the person that you were today?
Right from then, or
Like lessons that, like from that age. I think at 10 you start to become more aware of things,
yeah.
and the things you learn, the things that takes you the whole way, like
Yeah.
throughout your life.
Yeah.
So what are some of the lessons you've picked from your childhood generally that has helped you throughout your adulthood and that have transformed you to become the person that you were today?
Yeah. I've been brought up in church. I'm a Christian.
Oh, amen. Me too. Yeah. So me and you can hang out.
Yeah, I think so.
I keep making friends on this show in my head.
But I can tell you for sure, like I've learned very different lessons throughout my life. And I've changed quite a bit. I think it's just growing into myself. So I think right now I'm the best version of myself, because even at that age I probably wouldn't think that I could be able to just stand up in front of people and say my vision for this country and spearhead what I want to happen. I don't think I would have done that at that point, but I think I've really grown into myself lately, especially even just during the campaign period. I didn't know I was this strong. I didn't know
you're very strong. We saw it in the last debate, which you will talk about.
Yes. I didn't. There's some things I didn't know about myself, but I think they've always been there. It just waited. I was just waiting for a trigger for it to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have been receiving some support, especially on the social media platform, after the Senate debate you guys had last week, and others a lot of Kenyans think you're very courageous and they're very proud of you, and a lot of young people are encouraged. What does such support mean to you, if at all?
It means so much to me because it just keeps reassuring me that I'm doing the right thing. But they're also very negative. There's also very negative feedback. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Just throughout the whole
But a lot of
campaign.
people are supportive, so that's
People
why I
are very
picked on.
supportive.
Yeah.
Yes, people are very supportive, but other people are really mean, even to my face.
Even to your face?
Oh yeah.
Do you have an incident that you're comfortable sharing? I hope it wasn't that bad.
Well,
Okay,
there was
yes.
this time I was in Mudurwa, and we had done like campaigns in Lunga Lunga, then we went to Mudurwa. So when I was in Mudurwa, I met some young people, a group of young people, and so they're like, "Hey, what's up? You tell us what Nini?" They asked me a lot of questions, and I spent quite a bit of time explaining that this is what I want. I think us as young people, I really talked about what I think should happen in this country. And then one of the guys was like, "So because obviously you will lose."
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. Then he started saying, of course you will lose, and you know that. Why are you even trying to do
So
this?
what
You're
was his
wasting your money."
point?
So I'm like, so you guys had me talk here for however long you had me talk, but you weren't even hearing. At the end, you
Anything.
just knew what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think I felt so bad. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I mean, and then some people started even insulting me. So
Really?
yeah, I felt really bad. But every
But
time,
why, if they felt that they didn't want to be there, they shouldn't have been there. Nobody forced them to be there.
Exactly.
Yes.
But again, I mean, my heart just aches for them because we have been brought up and been brainwashed so much to the extent that you can't see someone who is actually trying to help the situation. You can't see it at all. And so I don't blame them. I feel like that's just how we've been socialized to believe things. So it's okay. And every time I go through something like that, I remember, every time I've gone to Mukuru kwa Njenga, Mukuru kwa Ruben, to Lunga Lunga, to Madhari, to all those places that I've been to. I remember those people, and I remember these people are here because somebody decided not to do their job, because someone is not committed to do the right thing. And it just strengthens my resolve even more. Yeah.
So let's just pick the positive.
Yeah. Pick the positive and
guys, you don't
go
have to
with
be
it.
mean. If you don't want to support her, you don't really have to be there.
And people are so mean. There's a video they posted of me, and someone was like, "Ati, this one, huyu aende ajifundishe kuoga kwanza, ati huyu ni mtoto, you know, things like those. So you just sit down and wonder.
That is not even funny. I know.
But anyway, you know, I'm always like, you know what? At least I'm doing something about it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're sitting there doing nothing.
Sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
This is the point. And my guest today is Suzanne Lengewa Silantoi. It's not a Maasai name, is it?
Silantoi is both Maasai and Samburu, but Lengewa is Samburu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're Samburu.
I am Samburu.
So let's take a person like Dennis Lumbi, which you've met. I saw an interview you did with him at another local TV station. Edwin Sifuna and Johnson Sakaja. What is it you think you have that gives you an upper hand against these three?
I think the main thing that I bring here is I'm a voice of the young people. The young people they keep talking about is me. I am them.
You're the young person.
I am the young person who they keep talking about. And so when we have a fellow young person there, then we stop being represented. We represent ourselves because we can do it. I mean, we are young people who understand our own issues. We are adults. We are aware of what is going on. So we don't have to be represented anymore. We can just have someone there who can represent our own agendas. Yeah.
And do you think you can do a good job with that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Being a young person.
Yeah, because I have the experience of being a young person. I don't think they're not young in this time, so they don't know what it means to be a young person.
I'm actually
right
older than Sakaja. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is
a year older. We're easy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can still hang out. The other thing that I bring is, you know, I come in as an independent candidate, and I come in as a young person who has not been brought up to be divided along tribal lines. So they call it Tribe Kenya. I can just say I'm tribeless because I don't come in as either NASA or Jubilee. I come in as me. And what you get with me is just me. I don't have any other baggage that all these people carry.
You're not serving other interests.
I'm not serving other interests. I serve the interests of the people alone. Yeah. So that's an edge I have over them.
So you've talked about your tribe, and you know you come from the minority tribe that is considered a minority in Kenya. Does that play into a factor? Does that factor in when people see you as a neutral? How is that? How is that working for you?
It's actually sad that every time I go somewhere, someone would look at my name and be like, "What tribe is this?" I mean, that's the first thing they ask me. They ask me, "What tribe are you?"
First of all, they'll assume you're a Maasai.
Do you know they don't assume? They ask me, "What tribe are you?"
What tribe?
And then after that, they ask me, which party is this? I tell them it's an independent. They're like, okay. Then they relax. Then that's when we can talk.
They want to listen to you now.
And it's unfortunate. Like, why would that be? Why should my tribe be the first question they ask me? It's very sad. But I can't blame them.
Yeah.
I think it's just how we've been brought
Socialization
up.
Yeah.
So it's good for me. It's good for me, but it's bad for everybody else. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you plan to fix the hawkers challenge in the streets of Nairobi?
You know, this hawkers thing is a very complicated situation in my view. And some part of the reason why some people end up hawking stuff on the street is because they can't afford the licenses, they can't afford to actually put up a proper business.
Business place.
Which is not their fault. One thing that we can do, I have this Boresha plan for Nairobi, and one of the
Boresha plan.
Yeah, it's called Boresha Nairobi plan.
Okay.
So one of the main pillars is the youth and unemployment. So I understand that hawkers are not necessarily young people, but that will also affect the hawkers because I'm looking at having a sustainable business environment whereby we can be able to afford licenses, we can be able to afford even cheaper places of doing business, like venues where we can do business. So it's not about chasing them away. These are just hardworking people who want to raise some money to be able to
and make a living.
Themselves. And so what we need to do is we can have in other countries they usually close avenues on specific days of the week, and then they have them sell their goods there.
Like what we do with the Maasai market?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a system that actually works.
Yeah, it
and
does
people
work for
go
that.
there. You know, people say that sometimes hawkers would say that, oh, you know, if you take us to a market, people won't come here.
Yeah, that is the argument. But sometimes makes sense.
It makes a bit of sense. But
so how can I come from here, Moi Avenue, go to Mudhuro Market, then my home from here is 5 minutes. Then
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That's true.
Not.
But if you're able to cross to close Moy Avenue on a specific day of the week and have them sell their goods there. It has to just be organized and planned. I think sometimes we like to work in very rationally instead of very irrationally instead of actually planning and making sure that people are actually catered for. I think most of our plans are good, but people don't want to follow and just give goodwill for them to be able to be followed up. So the issue of hawkers, especially to do with the licenses, will affect even other young people who would like to start businesses, and just being able to provide facilities and also cheaper electricity, cheaper water, good sewer system. These are all things that add up to a business, and therefore the products of their businesses will be cheaper and competitive for us to be able to do work. If you look at an example like the Juakali sector, in furniture alone, Juakali would employ about 115,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Juakali alone.
In Nairobi?
No, in the whole country.
In the whole country?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the formal sector, there are only 10,000 people in the furniture industry. So if you look at the Juakali and the kind of challenges they're facing, and yet they're able to employ this number of people, then if we just empower them a little bit more, then more people will be able to find employment through that sector. And this is just furniture I'm talking about. And a lot of times you would find that people wouldn't buy stuff from Juakali because they feel like it's not good quality or whatever. And those concerns are valid. But it's just because of the challenges they're facing. If they're able to access capital at a cheaper rate, if they're able to access a good skills training, then they can be able to produce materials that are competitive
and of good quality.
And even if we can be able to adjust the tendering processes in the county, so that even Juakali people can be able to apply for that, and they can produce goods at a bigger scale, and therefore improve their businesses and employ more people. That will help us deal with unemployment. It will help us deal with crime as well, and I think we would be better as a whole.
Crime stems a lot from unemployment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about how you'll engage with the rest of the Nairobi leadership should you be elected as the next Nairobi senator in ensuring efficient service delivery on 1, health, 2, water, 3, security, and traffic jam.
Okay.
Let's start with health.
Actually, let me start with the relationship of the leaders.
Yeah.
Because that's an issue. And it's actually in the law that leaders should actually work together to be able to have people benefit from their services. And so the first role I would see as a senator is to be able to just to be an objective person, a neutral person, and therefore I'd be like the link between everybody. As well as my role as a senator is to be able to put a link between the county and the national as well, the national government as well. And so I would just be that sensible person who would be objective in the situations, because sometimes you would see, like in the previous county government, people would really fight and be competitive over things that are not necessarily supposed to be competitive over. It's just about the people. It's not about
power
us.
struggles.
The power struggles.
The people do not benefit at all, and has nothing to do with the people.
Absolutely nothing. So that's one thing I'd really like to look at. If we go to health, I mentioned that I've been working in the health system for quite a bit, and health is really close to my heart. Something that I see is a big problem in Nairobi is that there are about 161 health facilities in Nairobi for a population of 3.37 million. Now that's a lot of people. If you look at specifically Mukuru kwa Njenga and Mukuru kwa Ruben, there are about 700,000 people there. And there are only 2 public health facilities. Now that is not even fathomable. You know, if you look at doctors who are striking and nurses who are striking, you would kind of understand where they're coming from because of the workload.
Yeah, the frustration.
And even the equipment, the facilities is not fully equipped. And so the frustrations of the health workers are
medication.
real. No medication. The frustrations of the health workers are real. And the frustrations of people who are receiving these services are also real. And so we have to come in the middle and kind of balance this out.
Okay.
One of the ways is, if you look at the budget for Nairobi County 2016-2017, health was allocated about 6 billion shillings, which is equivalent to what is allocated to the office of the governor. How can you compare the two? The health of 6.6 billion and the needs of the office of the governor. I mean, they can't be, those are not things that you can equate, honestly.
Yeah.
And so we need to really increase more allocations towards health so that it can actually be a properly functioning system. At this point, nurses are on strike. Hospitals are closed and people don't care.
And the ones who don't have alternative health covers.
They cannot. They
are the
cannot.
ones who are suffering.
Exactly. If you look at the Jubilee government has given us free maternity health care, which is great.
Which is good. I know several people who have benefited.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But if you look at Nairobi, accessibility is key. People are not able to access proper healthcare, and so you would find that in a constituency like Embakasi West, 46% of the women do not deliver under skilled care. 46%.
46%?
Yes, you would think that is a statistics that would be
in Nairobi,
in
the village somewhere.
Yeah, in Samburu, in Turkana,
somewhere.
but Nairobi, that is serious, and so you'd find a lot of quack health practitioners in
the health workers.
And
trained.
And that's a responsibility of the county government to protect us as citizens of this country from people who are out to exploit
might even cost us our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that is a big thing that we need to deal with. It's just through proper planning, because there are actually good plans in Nairobi, but the funding and the goodwill to be able to achieve
and
those
corruption,
plans is what is missing.
And water.
I will talk about the sewer system first of all.
Okay.
Because the sewer system is part of this whole water thing.
Nairobi water and sewerage system.
Nairobi water and sewerage.
It's one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also has something to do with cholera as well.
Oh, yeah.
So Nairobi has a sewer line that was constructed in 1961. 1961.
Yeah.
And that sewer line was meant to serve 1 million
And that
people.
was when Nairobi was well planned.
Exactly.
But things have changed since then.
Exactly.
So what is the challenge now?
That sewer line was meant to serve 1 million people. There has been no progress. Absolutely not. Since 1961. And we are 3 times more what that sewer line is supposed to serve. And so that line is extremely choked. I mean, it's no wonder people are suffering from cholera, because every time it rains, the sewers burst. And where it bursts, where does it go? Into the water that we're drinking, into the water that we're putting in on our tables, into the water that we're using to cook. And that's why people are suffering from cholera. If you look at any allocation for disease control or disease prevention, it is zero. I mean, a zero. And you expect us to deal with cholera in Nairobi. It's not possible. It won't work. And so those are some of the things that we really need to address. And even we cannot continue to ration water. I mean, we're a hub in East and Central Africa. How can you ration water?
There are estates where they get water here once a week or once a month. I don't know.
That's true.
But funny, the people who bring the water, so you wonder, where do they get the water from?
Now,
from a section of the same estate.
I don't like to use this word, but they're actually cartels that run the water system.
I hear cartel is an industry in this country.
It is. It's a big industry, and I don't like to use the word because I feel like that word is used by leaders who are not willing to deal with the situation.
But sometimes they're part of it.
Absolutely.
Allegedly.
Absolutely. I also believe so. Because if you really felt threatened by these things, you'd actually do something about it, because you're in the position of leadership. If you as a leader tell me that you can't deal with cartels,
then we have a problem.
Then what are you doing there? I mean, I gave you my vote so that you can be my protector. You can defend my rights there. And then you tell me there are cartels and you can't do anything about it? Yeah. No. I mean, that's just unfathomable.
Yeah. So the cartels supply the water?
They do. And because of that, they're able to exploit people, especially in informal settlements. Did you know that people in informal settlements pay almost 5 times more
than the
for water for normal people? And I mean, it's not even fair to begin with. And so sometimes people will have to juggle between, am I going to pay for water, or am I going to eat? You know,
am I going to bathe?
Yeah.
Or am I going to shower,
or am I going to eat? I mean, those are not choices that as a human being you're supposed to make. And so those services should be made available for the people. I keep saying that there are proper plans that are there. Even for the water, there's a water policy that is still not implemented until today. And yet there are resources allocated to it, but people are just not following it up. The leadership is not following it up. And so that is something I personally am going to do myself, because those are things that people put you there so that you can do this for them, and if you don't do these things for them, then they end up not living in dignity, and it just affects people's livelihoods.
Okay. Okay. And security, or the lack of it?
I still think that security is mainly because of unemployment, because of lack of opportunities. And so if you're able to create a good business environment, and an environment where people can be able to get opportunities to do work, to be able to sustain themselves, then unemployment will go down drastically, because I really don't think people would get into crime just for the fun of it. People are pushed into those situations because of lack of opportunity. And so that is something I'm going to address even under the youth unemployment and empowerment.
Okay.
Yeah.
The traffic jam menace.
Traffic. This
I'm lucky. I use 5 minutes to my place because it's just here.
It's just here.
But the people who camp on the
I am
roads.
one of those people who sit in traffic forever. And I believe if we had a proper public transport system, then more people would opt to use the public transport, and that would decongest the roads, and therefore no traffic. No, that's easier said than done, because at this point, once you touch the matatu industry, you've touched
the heart of the city.
Yes, you've touched the spark,
the live wire.
Yeah,
the
and
hotspot.
Yes. So this might be controversial, but I believe that the public transport system should be run by the government, whereby we have one major transport system, and we have multiple buses, and people who work in shifts, who have insurance, who also have a day off, things like this, so that because people who work in the matatu industry are also people, and they need to have time with their families, they need to have time on their own to rejuvenate.
They never rest, really.
They don't.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. And so
that's why sometimes they can be so
exactly, they can be so
grumpy
mean
and
on the
all.
road, and
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, because
Yeah.
they don't have rest, they don't
Yeah.
have any of those things.
Yeah.
So if we're able to have the transport system run by the government, so that buses are timed, so that you know that if I go here at this time, the bus will come in 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes you will be wherever you need to go. That will help really ease out.
But do you think, as Nairobi, are we there yet?
You know what?
Or it's a working, or by goodwill we can get there?
We have to get there, because where we are, it's not working.
It's not working.
Unless you actually convince the matatu people to be able to work under certain regulations, then we can be able to move on.
We're about done, but before we get done, when you went to the debate, the one you had a few days ago, and you were there with all these men, were you intimidated by any chance?
I was a little bit. I felt nervous, actually.
It's normal.
But I picked myself up.
But we didn't see the nerve. We just saw somebody who was very well composed, who had his ducks in a row, and
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that's what you saw. But I think there's a first time for everything. That was my first ever debate. I wasn't even in debate club in school or anything like that. So I learned a lot from that debate, and now I'm aware of certain things that I should do, some things that I shouldn't do. And so hopefully if we have another debate, I'll be more confident, and I'll be able to drive my points home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you learned a lot. What is one thing that you took away from that debate?
What I took away from that debate was that I think Nairobians are really ready to get something else.
For a shift?
For a shift, a complete shift in our politics. I think that's what I saw, because people were actually watching that debate to hear what it is that we have in store, not because they are happy with what is good.
What's going on?
Yeah, they are not happy with what is going on, and so they want a change. And I feel like I'm responding to that call, and I think it's instances like those that actually reassure me that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah.
So is there anything else that you want Nairobians to hear?
I just want Nairobians to know that, we have so much potential as Nairobi. We are extremely hardworking. We are known to be people who make the best of the situation. And so I want Nairobians to vote for me because it is actually time for real change. And I'm offering that change to you as a person who lives in Nairobi, who knows exactly what it is that we need as a county to be able to move forward. And so I want us to change the attitude of our politics. I want us to change the moral standards of politics so that my generation and the generation that will come after me will be able to live in this country and live with dignity and be able to stand up and be proud that I come from Nairobi and Nairobi works for me and Nairobi has helped me go to school. Nairobi has helped me get employment. And Nairobi even helps me go to the hospital. If I go to a hospital, I'll find a proper hospital. And so I want Nairobians to vote for me because I'm tribeless. I will be objective, not subjective. And I believe in issue-based politics. And so I'm here to tackle the issues that Nairobians have and nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suzanne Lengewa, Silantoi.
Yes.
It was wonderful to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
I was looking forward to this interview. You have no idea.
Oh, thank you.
From the first time I heard you being interviewed at the local, the radio station at the JF, I was like, okay, I think I need to get her. I need to talk to her. I just want to get into her mind and just see for a moment what pushes her and what motivates her and really what pushed into politics. And now I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you came.
Thank you.
Even in the middle of your very busy schedule. I know right now it's crazy, huh? The last minute.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And all the best.
Thank you.
And hopefully after the 8th of August,
Yes.
we'll be talking about something different, right?
Yes.
We'll be knocking in that office.
And I hope I have your vote.
Yes. And others out there, if you think she can do a good job, it's your choice. You have the power because you have the vote. This has been The Point. I am Miriam Magutu. And until next time, thank you for watching.